Hello students, welcome to my educational channel EasyEd. In today's video, we will continue with algae. In our last video, we have discussed general characteristics of algae, and in this video, we will continue with the classification of algae. Algae is divided into three classes: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Each of them you have to study separately. First, we will discuss Chlorophyceae. Members of group class Chlorophyceae are commonly known as green algae. They contain chlorophyll pigment in which chlorophyll A and B are dominant. In green algae, chlorophyll A and B are dominant pigments and therefore their color is green, and so they are commonly called as green algae. Plant body of green algae, that is Chlorophyceae, may be unicellular, colonial or filamentous. That means they may be formed in all these forms. They may be unicellular, they may be found in colonies, or they may have filamentous structure. Their body has all these variety of compositions. And they are usually grass green. Why? Just we discussed, because of the presence of chlorophyll A and B, which are the dominant pigments. And as you know, chlorophyll is present. Chlorophyll will be present in chloroplast. Chloroplast of algae, green algae, is definite. They have definite, means proper, chloroplasts. And this chloroplast may be of different shapes in different species. Different species of green algae have different shapes of chloroplasts. They may be discoid, means disc-like, plate-like, reticulate, means forming network. They may be cup-shaped. They may be spiral structure, you all know, spiral, and they may be ribbon shaped. So these are different shapes of chloroplast which vary in different species of green algae. Different species of green algae may contain chloroplasts in different shapes. Now, most of the members have one or more storage bodies. Okay, and these storage bodies are located in chloroplasts. In green algae, Chlorophyceae, they are pyrenoids. Pyrenoids are the storage bodies located in chloroplasts, and they contain protein besides starch. Pyrenoids contain protein also. And what are they? They are storage bodies, food storing bodies present in chloroplasts. Some green algae store food in the form of oil droplets. Means food is stored in form of pyrenoids, as well as in some algae it is stored in the form of oil droplets. Now, these green algae have a rigid cell wall. Their cell wall is rigid, and which is made up of inner layer of cellulose and outer layer of pectose. See the prominent character. They have a rigid cell wall, and usually in plant cell wall is made up of cellulose, but here this cell wall of green algae is made up of cellulose from the inner side, means inner wall is made up of cellulose and outer layer is of pectose. Alright, now coming to the reproduction, Chlorophyceae, members of Chlorophyceae reproduce by all three manners, that is vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, as well as sexual reproduction. As we have discussed earlier also, vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation or by spores, by different types of vegetative spores. Asexual reproduction is by zoospores, which are flagellated, means motile. So in Chlorophyceae, asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores, and where they are produced? They are produced in zoosporangia, spore bearing body. Zoosporangia bears flagellated zoospores, and this help in asexual reproduction. Now sexual reproduction is of three types: isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. All this we have studied. Sexual reproduction shows variation in Chlorophyceae in the formation of sexes. And what is the variation? They may be isogamous, they may be anisogamous, or they may be oogamous. Remember, isogamous, the two gametes are morphologically similar, and isogamous, they are morphologically dissimilar, and oogamous, one is small, means they are of an isogamous type, but one is small and motile and other is large and stagnant. All the three kinds of reproduction, sexual reproduction, can be exhibited. Now some examples of Chlorophyceae are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra and Caras. These are some examples. All these names, examples of different classes, you have to learn. Now coming to the next class of algae, next class is Phaeophyceae. Now Phaeophyceae is commonly known as brown algae. Members of class Phaeophyceae are commonly known as brown algae, and similarly, just I will tell you why they are called as brown algae. First, considering the habitat, brown algae are primarily marine. They are found primarily in marine habitats. They show great variation in size and form. They vary in size and form. They range from simple branched filamentous forms to profusely branched forms. Means they have a great variation in size and form. They may be simple, branched or filamentous, example Ectocarpus, and they may be profusely branched, almost up to 100 meters, example Kelps. So they vary in size and form. They may vary from simple branched filamentous forms, example Ectocarpus, to profusely branched forms, that is Kelps. Now in Phaeophyceae, that is brown algae, Chlorophyll A and Chlorophyll C and carotenoids, xanthophylls are present. See, Chlorophyll A, Chlorophyll C, carotenoids and xanthophylls all are pigments. These all pigments are present in Phaeophyceae, brown algae. Now see, they vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. And how? Depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment. And what is that pigment? Fucoxanthin. Fucoxanthin is a xanthophyll pigment present in brown algae, and depending upon the amount of this fucoxanthin, it is a kind of xanthophyll pigment present in these algae. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. How? Depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment, that is fucoxanthin in them. Alright, so because of this pigment they are brown in color, various shades of brown, and they are commonly called as brown algae. Now in Phaeophyceae, food is stored as complex carbohydrates which may be in the form of laminaria or mannitol. What is laminaria and mannitol? It is the stored food present in brown algae. And what is this? It is a complex carbohydrate. So food is stored as complex carbohydrates which may be in the form of laminaria or mannitol. Now in brown algae, vegetative cells have cellulose cell wall covered usually by algin. See, just now we have studied in green algae, the cell wall is rigid and has two layers. Layer of cellulose and layer of pectose. Alright, now here the cell wall is usually covered by a substance algin. Just in characteristics, in last video we have studied what is algin. Algin is a substance produced hydrocolloid water absorbing substrate. So vegetative cells have which kind of cell wall? Cellulosic, means made up of cellulose, usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coat of algin. Alright, next character. In addition to plastids, protoplasm contains centrally located vacuole and nucleus, means protoplasm contains plastids as well as centrally located vacuole and nucleus. Now plant body of brown algae is usually attached to the substratum. Substratum means base where the plant body is attached. Plant body is usually attached to the substratum, and by the which part? The part of the plant body which is attached to the substratum is called as hold fast. Okay, so the part of the body which is attached to the substratum is hold fast, and the whole plant body, it contains a stalk. Stalk means a pedicel like structure, and the stipe means a rising shoot like structure, and leaf like photosynthetic organs called as fronds. Okay, so plant body here is somewhat complicated, not simple. It is attached usually to the substratum by hold fast, and it has a stalk, a stipe and leaf like photosynthetic organ called as frond. Now coming to the reproduction of brown algae, again it is of all the three types: vegetative, asexual as well as sexual. Vegetative again by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction by zoospores. Now these zoospores in most of the brown algae are pear shaped. Just now we have studied in Chlorophyceae also, they are flagellated. So zoospores here are biflagellated. Biflagellated means contain two flagella. So in most of the brown algae, asexual reproduction is by biflagellated zoospores, and these zoospores are pear shaped, and these two flagella, how are they? They are laterally arranged and they are unequal flagella. They contain two unequal laterally arranged flagella. They are called as zoospores and they help in sexual reproduction. Now asexual reproduction, again it may be isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous. All the three kinds depending upon the different species. And you all know fusion of gametes takes place here, so they may be aniso or oogametes. Now here, fusion of gametes may take place in water, okay, because they are mostly marine, mostly aquatic. So fusion of gametes here may take place in water or within oogonium. Oogonium, in oogamous type of reproduction, oogonium, a spore bearing body is produced where fusion of gametes takes place. Here also these gametes are pear shaped. Pear shaped means pyriform. The term pyriform is given for pear shaped gametes. The gametes are here pyriform and they too bear two laterally attached flagella. Alright. Some examples of this brown algae: Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus. Please learn some of the examples. They are always asked in questions. Now third class is Rhodophyceae. Members of Rhodophyceae are commonly known as red algae. And why? Because they are red in color. And how? Because of the predominance of this red color pigment, which is R-phycoerythrin. R-phycoerythrin, a red pigment, is predominant in these algae, which give them red color, and so they are commonly called as red algae. Now habitat, majority of them are marine. Majority of red algae are marine, with greater concentration found in warmer areas. Okay, they occur may be towards the surface of the water or in the greater depths, means they occur in both the areas, in well lighted areas also towards the surface of water, and in deeper areas, in the great depths, in oceans where little light is present, very less light is present, means very varied habitat. Now these red algae are multicellular. They are multicellular red thallus. Thallus is their plant body. As we have studied, plant body is not demarcated into root and shoot, and that is called as thallus. So red thalli, plant body is in the form of red thalli. Thalli is plural of thallus. They are multicellular red thalli. The red thalli of most of the red algae are multicellular, and some of them have complex body organization. Some of them may have complex body organization. In red algae, food is stored as Floridian starch. See, in all classes, there are different types of food storages. Food is stored as Floridian starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. This stored food is similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure, and it is what its name is, Floridian starch. Now red algae, again reproduction. Coming to reproduction, red algae again shows all the three kinds of reproduction. What are they? Vegetative, asexual as well as sexual. Now similarly to other algae, vegetative reproduction is usually by fragmentation, and here also this reproduction is usually vegetative, and that is with the help by the process of fragmentation. Now asexual reproduction They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores. Here, first time in algae we have non-motile spores. Just now we studied motile, flagellated spores. But in rhodophyceae, the spores, asexual spores are non-motile. And sexual reproduction, it is oogamous. Sexual reproduction in red algae is oogamous, and again it is non-motile. The gametes here are non-motile. So it reproduces asexually by non-motile gametes. Spores. Asexual reproduction is by non-motile spores, and sexual reproduction is by non-motile gametes. Sexual reproduction is oogamous type, accompanied by complex post-fertilization developments. Means in this red algae, sexual reproduction is oogamous and it is followed by post-fertilization development, which is complex, means it incorporates few steps. Now some examples of red algae: Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria and Gelidium. All the names you have to remember. Now I will show you some diagrams. This is Volvox. Volvox is a colonial algae. Remember, just now we studied in Chlorophyceae. This is a colony of Volvox. Many small colonies are present. They are colonial. We studied varied habitat. They may be colonial. Chlorophyceae. The name of this algae is Volvox. We have studied that they may be filamentous. See, this is filamentous algae. This is Spirogyra. Its plant body is in the form of filament. See, each cell is there, arranged one above the other in the form of a filament. Each cell has a cell wall. Each cell is covered by outer mucilage. Inside the cell wall there is plasma membrane. Inside of the cell is filled with cytoplasm. These are some flattened, see, this is ribbon shaped chloroplast. We studied different species have different types of chloroplast. So this ribbon shaped flattened structure, spirally arranged, you can see is chloroplast. It contains chlorophyll. And see here, inside the protoplasm there is a nucleus. There is nucleus. Now in the chloroplast we studied that food storage body pyrenoid is present. These small dots like structure in the chloroplast you can see is pyrenoid. So this is Chlorophyceae filamentous algae, that is Spirogyra. One more filamentous algae I will show you is Eulothrix. See the structure of Eulothrix. Here it is each cell, the whole body, and here you can see each cell arranged one above the other. These are the vegetative cells. The lowermost is known as the basal cell and the uppermost is known as the apical cell, and in between the cells are known as vegetative cell. Again they contain cytoplasm in between, pyrenoids present in the form of inside the chloroplast. This is the chloroplast, this like structure, and outer is cell wall. This is Eulothrix. Now you see some brown algae and red algae. These were all Chlorophyceae. Volvox, Spirogyra, Eulothrix were Chlorophyceae green algae. Now see some brown algae and red algae. This is Dictyota, that is brown algae. This is Polysiphonia, that is red algae. Porphyra, red algae. Laminaria, brown algae, and Fucus. You can see here Fucus, that is brown algae. See, we have just studied the plant body may be thalloid or may be profusely branched. See, profusely branched body. These are green and red algae. So these were the some structures, specific diagrams of algae. Now very quick review we will have regarding the divisions of algae, means classes of algae and their main characters. You can see I have prepared a chart. It is very easy for you to study with the help of chart. So you also all make a habit of preparing notes in the form of charts, etc., which will help you to learn well. Now here we can see all the three classes of algae, that is Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae, and we have taken their distinguishing characters, main characters here for your easy understanding and learning. Which characters we have taken? We have taken their common name, major pigments present in them, stored food present in them, their cell wall, their flagella and their habitat. So just have a quick look or revision of all the three classes of algae. Class Chlorophyceae, commonly known as green algae. Major pigments, dominant pigments are chlorophyll A and B. Food is stored in the form of starch as pyrenoids in the chloroplast. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Flagella, they have flagella, they are flagellated and number may vary from 2 to 8. 2 flagella to 8 flagella depending upon the species. Their flagella are equal in size and apical on the apex part of the body. The habitat, they are fresh water. They are found in brackish water as well as salt water. Next class, Phaeophyceae, commonly known as brown algae. Major pigments chlorophyll A and C and fucoxanthin, which gives them their brown color. Their stored food is mannitol and laminarin. Cell wall is made up of cellulose covered by algin. Flagella, they have two flagella, they are biflagellated, and what is their characteristic? The two flagella are unequal and laterally arranged. Their habitat, they are freshwater, very rarely, and found in, means very rarely they are freshwater form and found in brackish water as well as salt water. Third class is Rhodophyceae, commonly known as red algae. Major pigments chlorophyll A and D and phycoerythrin, which gives them the red color. Food is stored in the form of Floridian starch and cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and polysulfate esters. See the distinguishing character between the three algae. All distinguishing character I have taken and you can compare them according to the character and learn their characters. Flagella, just now we studied, they are non-motile. Flagella are absent in Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae do not have flagella, they are non-motile, and their habitat, they are fresh, some of them are freshwater. Some of the Rhodophyceae are freshwater and they are found in brackish water, and most of them are found in salt water. So this was all about algae. That's all. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.